Welcome back to the Garlic Marketing Show, the final episode of season 4. Our seasons are very random. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short. This was a lot of episodes. I want to say 40 or plus episodes, lots of great stuff. And that's why I'm doing this recap with my good friend, an amazing podcast producer, strategist, referral marketer, copywriter, Dr. Jeremy Weisz from Rise25. Dr. Jeremy Weisz, thanks for being on the show.
I'm excited because we're going to talk about the top lessons learned from some of the guests, your own, big lessons and aha moments over the past year. And if you're looking at the screen, there's a video version of this, of course, because I specialize in a video. So video case story, you can check out videocasestory.com and see how video case stories will bring your business now and well into the future, because that case story keeps selling for you over and over again. And this reminds me of like video games for some reason, the video case story, like playing old school Nintendo. I love the logo and what you guys did with the brand, but all sorts of industries will call I and his team to be an easy button and drop dead simple to capture their best client stories. And we're going to recap. So I want to start off with, he has story crews you could check out in iandgarlic.com, but we're going to dig in deep. And I want to start with the first one, which is how to make customers feel safe with these 3 pillars of website design with Alex Mellon. There's a lot you talked about on this as far as websites and digital marketing. Talk about website, Alex Mellon.
Alex Mellon from Smart Sites. I mean, they've created tons of websites, big websites. They have a great website. They actually do a good job of their client stories and using their client stories on their homepage and throughout their website. So it's impressive. It's a great website to check out. This was a very interesting conversation because obviously this was, a lot of this is where the pandemic's still hopefully at the tail end, but this was at the high, right in the middle of it, coming back. And we were talking about safety, making people feel safe. And it's not something we thought about as much. We had the server level stuff, but like making people feel safe, making them feel comfortable. There's a lot of fear out there. And we talked about how to use your website to make them feel safe, because when they feel safe, they'll trust you more. They'll make more buying decisions. They'll spend more time on your website. They'll be more likely to meet with you, talk with you, do business with you. And safety, it was, it's not something we think about enough. We think about how to get the leads, but not how to make them feel safe. And, so many different things he talked about on here. I think it's a great episode for that reason. I think every business owner needs to listen to it.
Love it. Next one, strategic partnerships for digital agencies with Alex Glenn from partnerprograms.io. And I know some of the stuff you talked about is, the big question you should be asking new partners, why you shouldn't focus on referral commissions, how to find great partners, the secret sauce for supercharging partners. Talk about partnership programs in Alex Glenn.
Well, Alex, if you really look at most businesses, yes, they have knocked it out of the park. We'll have a great marketing campaign, but partnerships are a key part of any growth. I mean, if you look at Amex or, like you sign up for any credit card, they have so many partners in there, right? That they sell their stuff. Same thing, I think, for any type of agency, any type of service-based business. There's so many key partnerships, right, that you need to have. And then also partners with vendors too, and how you handle those. And we really got into how to develop those partnerships, how to find the best ones, especially with vendor. This one was very vendor specific. And then if you're developing a partner program, agencies should, how to reward them, how to reach out to them. That was a big, there's a big mistakes made in the rewarding of partners. And Alex really talked a lot about that, especially that most people aren't going to be and small size business aren't going to be as money driven as much as results driven for their clients. So figuring that out, I think is important. I don't think we've listed you, but I don't know if you were on this season, but Jeremy is an expert in finding those partners and connecting with those partners, not so much actually developing the partner program, but finding and connecting it. So I'm plugging Jeremy. Thanks, Jeremy. He's helped me a lot with that.
Talk about that for a second, because most people think, if I compensate them, that will be the best thing. People will be motivated by that. What are some other ways that you've thought from, you have a lot of experience in this, and also with Alex, about rewarding partners without, not just thinking about paying them?
Well, I think, for me, good service, right? Bringing value to your partners, treating them really, really well, putting them up on a pedestal, not just sending them a check, but communicating with them, helping them out. Like with our partners, we have a partner program for videocasestory.com. We're launching 2 partner programs, both JV partners where someone can promote us and / embedded, and certified partners. And you can go to videocasestory.com/partners if you're interested. What we're trying to do is promote our partners, right? Help promote your partners, help get them on webinars, get them in front of your clients, feature them on your website, feature them on a podcast, feature them in your email, consult with them, right? Your business, you can spend an hour and help your partners. So I just did it with one of our partners, help them design a new line of business in their agency. And it wasn't video related, but we sat down. I'm like, because I have a ton of experience in that. You have experience in places that you can help your partners, and give first, right? That's one of the things I always try to do is like, give first, give first, give first. With our partners, they get a strategy session with us, and they get videos, and they get extra marketing, and we're developing private groups that are partners only. So there's a lot of benefits that you can put around besides the dollar amounts. And, one of the things I think you also have to be careful of is setting the idea that who's the best partner, because someone might be a consistent 2 to 3, 4 person partner a year, that someone might hit it out of the park with 10 with 10, 20, referrals for you for 1 year and then just disappear on you. So think about that too. Think about how you connect, reward, think. And I think we're going to talk about John Ruhlin, gifts. Think about random gifts. That's another thing that soon we're going to be sending out to some of our partners is gifts. And that's a great episode with John Ruhlin about how to do those gifts. Hint, don't send them branded stuff with your brand on it. But these are just some things, but I really think thinking about your partners, no matter who you are, whether you're an agency, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, how can you connect and stay with those partners on a regular basis? Here's another quick tip that actually I'm going to leave it. You got to listen to the episode of who should be the partner coordinator. It's very interesting, his take on it.
Love it. Yeah. There's lots of ways to deliver value outside of just straight dollars. The next one is learn how to grow your business from 25 to 150 employees using attorney consulting coaching with Mike Morse. And again, a fantastic episode. You talked about how the herd mentality kills your firm growth, how to stand out in a crowd of video, the importance of delegating and elevating your to grow your business, and the key move to untrap the lawyer and marketing tools and much more.
Yeah, I like Mike's take on it. And basically he's running EOS, but their own version of Entrepreneur Operating System by Gina Wickman for his law firm. And I think this is whether you're an agent, if you're an agency, you should be running EOS. I think everyone needs to be running EOS in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to talk about that towards the end of this because we had a bunch of EOS implementers on, because you need to have certain things that are how to build your systems, how to address problems, how to have meetings, how to get untrapped as an attorney. But this goes for any professional, whether you're an agency owner, a doctor, dentist, a marketer, you get trapped in your business. And we talked about how he got untrapped and allowed him to grow really, really fast as a law firm. It was a great episode. He's an interesting guy and he has an interesting take on video too. And, he has a lot of haters, and he talks about how he handles those haters, which was interesting as well.
Listen to that episode with Mike Morris. The next one, The Ultimate Guide to Successful Project Management with Carl Sakis. And, if you're a project manager or if you've hired a project manager, this is an episode to listen to. And he talks about some of the overwhelm agencies and business experience and much more. So what stuck out for you in project management and Carl?
It was Carl's take on project management. I see so many people when especially agencies, but anyone that gets into project management, that really get deep into, mechanics, not so much mechanics, but, tactics, and software and automating it. And he really took that away. He talks about how to identify project issues before they happen, which is super important. Really comes at it with a methodical mind for growing your project management. I'm telling you, if you have problems with clients complaining on a regular basis, either two things are happening. You have the wrong clients, or you're bad at project management / customer service. And those are, two sides of the same coin. And whether you're, once again, an agency or whatever, if you do your project management correctly, like Carl talks about, it will transform your business. Once again, untrap you and identify the problems in your projects, identify how to solve them, how to constantly improve them. And, he talks about what to do if you don't have any training and how he learned it, and, and how project management can actually destroy your sales and how to prevent it from. So it's a great episode. And, he talks about, what to delegate first, and just a lot, the iron triangle of project management. I'm just going through this. That was fantastic. I need to listen to this episode again, to be honest with you.
It's interesting you say that, Ian, because we also sometimes default to a magic wand. Well, if I just get this project managing software, it will solve everything, or this tool or this software. And the reality is there's people, running those tools. And so there needs to be, what's the cause of the issue, or the best way to run it. And so this is a great episode for that. The next one is the ultimate guide for using YouTube ads to position your business with Qasim. And again, you talked about, for any agency who wants to do lead generation, you cannot dismiss YouTube ads. And sometimes it's a black box for people, right? So some of the things that you can do for companies to generate leads and exposure. So talk about Qasim and YouTube ads.
I love Qasim. He's a great guy. He talks a million miles a minute, which I like. We had a big discussion. This was a highly technical episode. So I think if you do run PPC and a lot about it, you'll actually learn a lot here, but it works for everyone. One of the things he definitely said is, like, a lot of the people teaching YouTube ads out there are teaching stuff that just doesn't work for real. We talked about the importance of quality content, and that's one definite theme from last year. As Facebook shook up, as different, the pixels and the Apple iOS updates affected traffic. We talked about the importance of constantly improving content. And he talks about just great campaigns, that how to position yourself well if you're going to run YouTube ads, and also coming back to the first steps for a digital agency if they're going to run traffic. Qasim, here's the thing: they just gotten ranked by Google as in the top 3% of pay-per-click agencies out there. Top 3%. That's by Google. That's pretty impressive. Plus, he runs a perpetual traffic podcast, and just an all-around good guy. I think this is, if you're running any type of traffic, if you're an agency, this is a great episode.
And the next one, the simple method to boost your SaaS business revenue, with David Hensel. Again, you talked about as far as the SaaS revenue, successfully scaling and managing multiple brands. He talked about his experience developing great partners as well. There was that conversation, and some stuff about his email marketing, and even resulted in him having death threats. So if that's not an open loop, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. You're gonna have to go listen to the one about the death threats. But I'll tell you this: David's a smart guy, really good guy too. A lot like Qasim. David has, set, like, I want to say like 8 or 9 companies. This company UpCoach is a fantastic. It's a really cool software that we're going to start. We're starting to implement it inside of our agency for communicating with clients. If you're a coach, if you're any type of consultant, if you're a lawyer, you should look at UpCoach. I love the software, but he's developed all these cool things, and he's developed and sold multiple SaaS companies. So obviously he knows how to grow them. And just, I think he's done it all without any type of venture capital, which is super impressive. Super smart guy. It's a great way, a great look in how to grow SaaS companies. And once again, we talk a lot about channel partners. I think partners are the name of the game for almost every company out there, especially agencies, how to grow them. Yeah, it's a great episode. Definitely check it out.
Ian, the next one, the keys to running a great e-commerce offer campaign with Tony Grebmeyer from Ship Offers. And Tony is always just a huge ball of energy and always brings brings so much knowledge to the table. He's been an entrepreneur for over 26 years, running e-commerce company, Ship Offers. I know you have a lot of intimate knowledge and have a lot of lessons with Tony.
Well, I like how you use intimate knowledge and use huge balls of energy about Tony, because those definitely describe Tony. I mean, Tony's a great friend, but I mean, their company, you can't argue with the success of Ship Offers. It's, year after year, they're in the Inc. Inc. 1000. I'm not sure, but I think they're Inc. 1000 usually. But year after year, constant growth. We did a lot of their customer stories, and I'll tell you, the guy has forgotten more about e-commerce than most people know, right? Because not only does he see these multi-million dollar companies and what they're doing to do it, but he's helped develop them, and he's helped them to grow, and how, he has some great ideas in here about even how to develop your first e-commerce offer. And I mean, if you're thinking about e-commerce, if you're in e-commerce, you really should follow everything that Tony says, because the only thing he's selling is coming to work is your success. He's not selling a program. He's not selling, he does some personal development stuff, which is great, but he wants you to get better, because they have a limit. You have to be selling a lot to come work with them. So he wants people to get great to come work with him. So if you're thinking about e-commerce or offers in general, you got to listen to this one with Tony.
Yeah, and he's also an expert, and he's just an amazing giver, and that makes him amazing at partnerships also.
Yep, 100%.
The next one is adding services or products to your business using a white label implementation with Dobbin Buck. And Dobbin, again, started off like a lot of people, cramped in a small office, and has grown to over 50 people with his team of experts. And there's a lot to learn in this episode, especially kind of staying ahead of the curve in small business, identifying needed skill sets, finding the right people, maintaining incredible service and product.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Dobbin, I love Dobbin. He's super, super smart guy. Like, you meet him and you're like, oh, he's kind of laid back, especially now he's got like this big beard. Definitely changed his look. He fishes all the time. But he does the funnels and marketing for the people, like some of the biggest people in marketing. He's kind of under the radar, but he helps them quickly add services without spending any money on team. And he tells about how he hires a team and how he trains a team, because he's grown this. And, a lot of us use overseas help to keep the expenses down. He's done this with not just nearshore, but in Georgia, and hiring people and training them. It's just, and he talks about how he does it, and then how to use that to add services. Because I think a lot of people think of it the wrong way. I think you should sell stuff, and then, most of the time sell stuff, see if it works and see if there's a market. But as an agency, if you're adding a service and you don't have someone to do it right away, it's hard. It's not like a lawyer, where a lawyer can go find another lawyer who specializes in something. It is really hard as an agency to find someone that specializes in a certain part of marketing, because there's just no education for it. There's very little experience for it. So he talks about that. It's an important lesson if you're looking to expand by adding services. And it's a great way to do it.
How to grow over a $20 million exit using a pay-per-lead model with Ian Bentley.
I know it's hard to say,
like Ian, I don't know. This one's
No, it is Ian. It's two Ians. It was.
He started scaling companies, sold for over 20 million. Wow, that's amazing. 8-figure exit deal on pay-per-lead model. What stuck out for you with this model and Ian?
Ian's a great guy, super smart marketer too. I think if in the agency space, and if you're not an agency, if you're looking to grow, I think buying leads, if you on the back end have it, is a good way to grow. Because if you can find the right leads and the right lead source, then it takes a lot of the problem of figuring out the ads out. From the agency side, if you have 1 or 2 clients that you're generating a ton of leads for, and you're scared of them disappearing, this is a great way to kind of flip the script. And he did that. He did it in car sales, right? So if you're a car person, you do car marketing, auto marketing, and you go and you're marketing for 2 or 3 companies and one of them fires you, man, you're screwed. But if you're just getting leads, you can go sell those leads to someone else. So it's a good model. I still think if you're looking to buy leads, you should have an agency who develops your brand and develops your inside funnels. But it's just interesting to talk to him about how he grew his business and the biggest mistakes digital agencies make when actually adding a pay-per-lead model.
Next one is John Ruhlin, which we discussed, Giftology Group. He's got the book Giftology. And what sticks out for you with John? You already kind of said a few tips with this one.
Well, John Ruhlin, he was a great guest. And, he talked about, this was a seasonal episode, but I think this is really relevant to if birthdays, et cetera, like how we default to sending gifts during the season when everyone's getting so much. Like if you send me something on my birthday, it's just like, boom, overwhelming. But if you send me a random gift, when it's not my birthday,
it's not much noise there.
Yeah, not much noise, and I can pay attention to it and enjoy it. Same thing at the holidays. And I think we try and be a part of the noise instead of thinking about it, but also what's the qualities of really a great gift. And we talked a lot about that because it is important. Anyways,
the next one is he's it's always a must listen to when John Ruhlin speaks. So the community manual. Okay, this is 3 fundamentals to building a thriving community with Tom Ross, and he's built big community with design cuts, and he talks about the fundamentals to building a community, how that community thrives. Also some of the positive impact of having a community, establishing that positive reputation, and building that. It pays off in dividends. So, what sticks out for you as far as community building and Tom Ross?
I have to listen to this episode again. I just know I love every time I have Tom on because he's a genuine guy. He reminds me of Gino Wickman a lot in ways because, there's some guys that will go out and they'll figure something out and go sell it. Tom really becomes an expert at it and then tests it out and make sure he can help a few other people doing it before going out and showing a bunch of other people how to do it. So he built, I think I want to say they had something like 500,000 people in their community. It's crazy. And he put a lot of work into it, and a lot of, and he just gives a lot of tactics on building a community. I think there's a huge, because of, what happened in the pandemic, there's shift to communities, and there's a huge, huge, huge opportunity in building a community right now. And I think, we all need to be thinking about what community we need to build. And you don't have to build a huge community. There's a huge opportunity, but if you build, for some of us, if, your community.
That's what I was thinking too, because like, if you're in a niche area, you could have a very small but intimate community and it's still valuable. Right?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. You can be even more impactful, right? I'm trying to think of someone who has a small community, but there's a lot of them out there. Right? You can serve 100, 200
There's so
people.
many niches out there. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's much easier to start there. And there's that 1,000 true fans idea. You can have 100 true fans, and really, really serve them. And don't try and be Gary Vee, right? Try and be micro famous. Just be famous to the people that matter, that really care, that will, help your business and you enjoy being around.
Speaking of communities, we talked the massive business opportunities in podcasting with Podcast One co-founder Kit Cray. And if you've heard of podcasting, you probably know some of the people they have on Podcast One. I think Shaquille O'Neal, they've had Jordan Harbinger and many, many more with that. And, he talked about the biggest upticks in podcast usage. He talked about driving viewership to your podcast and some of the secrets of growing a successful business. So talk about Kit.
Kit had a 9-figure exit. You can't beat that. Kit's, I'll be honest, Kit's an old friend, not age old, but I've known him for a long time. We went to college together, and it's amazing because he's just such a good guy, super smart guy, super hard worker. You'll see on the episode what a good guy is, but he's super smart too. And, he helped Adam Carolla develop his first podcast, like Shaq, and you can go on there, Dr. Drew, all the people that he's had as, he's run podcasts for, like Jordan Harbinger, who you all know, they've helped grow these podcasts. And he talks about there's huge opportunities in podcasting. It's just people get really narrow-minded with what podcasting means, what it should do. And I think they get too much into a TV mentality. So we talked a lot about that, how to grow your podcast, the biggest way that they know to grow podcast audience. But I think once again, coming back to you, it's how you think about podcasting, what it does for you, and prioritizing what do you want it to do for you. He talks a lot about making money from podcasts, but there's a lot of ways to make money in a podcast. And we also talk about, how to get hyper localized now with podcasts, because there is ways to, now to sell ads and market in a hyper local means. So really something to check out.
The biggest marketing opportunity for staffing companies with Derek Pittock. And with him, this kind of is part of, you talked about EOS implementer for staffing companies, and some of you mentioned before about some of this EOS series that you did. So talk about Derek and a little bit about EOS.
This whole series of EOS people, Derek was one of them. I had Brittany Meyer-Holtz on from, they have an EOS software. I had Chris White on, who no longer is technically with EOS. Some of these people have moved on from EOS. They're still doing the same type of consulting. It's just they all started a lot of their own brands. The reason I did this, and I think this is important to everything, you're going to get a lot of good ideas here. You're going to have a lot of ideas. If you're a visionary in your business, you need to be running EOS. We do it. I don't know if you guys are doing it, Jeremy, but you're running some way of having a visionary integrator role. We talk about it, how to hire using EOS, how to have meetings, really how to have meetings, how to develop your vision, Chris White talked a lot about, how to journal and grow your business through journaling and EOS. And develop a structure around it, because that's what we don't have in our business. You think you have a structure. Well, we have weekly meetings, but do you know how to make them happen? How do you decide what to concentrate on? How do you develop your core values we talked about? I'm trying to pull up who all was on here.
I think you've also, you've talked to Casey Cavell of, Legacy 412. I know he's given you some advice.
Yeah, Casey Cavell. He's great. And we'll put a link to his website. He's coming on. He wasn't actually in on this one because at the time he was helping the exit of Rocket Fuel. So Rocket Fuel was sold to EOS, the visionary integrator idea, Rocket Fuel University, with Mark Winters. We helped develop strategy around that. Yeah. Britt Meyer-Holtz. Will Scott really talks about culture in this one. And then Jim Haviland talks about developing an entrepreneurial mindset, clarifying your vision with Will Christ. I think that was an important one. And then Derek Pittock had the staffing companies and finding switching your target market, especially when you have a big shift. Aaron Perkypile talked about that. I think that's a good one, even though this one was about the pandemic. I think it's something we can all learn from because there are massive shifts. Jerry Henley, developing and implementing a marketing strategy quickly to pivot. Chris Kelso was great at overcoming imposter syndrome. And, just the overall strategies with Andrea Jones on learning EOS. I think this was all a lot that people should go through.
Final thoughts, just to check out some of these episodes. If something stuck out to you, check out videocasestory.com to learn more about Ian and his company. Anywhere else we should point people towards?
I mean, videocasestory.com is the best way, and obviously keep following the Garlic Marketing Show and check out Rise25. Jeremy's awesome. Right. When you're thinking about, if you're talking about developing referral partners and using podcasts in the right way, definitely talk to Jeremy.
Check everything out and more episodes, and always a pleasure. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you all for taking Jeremy and I on your journey. This has been iGarlic and the end of season 4 of the Garlic Marketing Show.